Imagine stepping into your own backyard, a place you've walked 100 times, and realizing someone or something has been there, watching, waiting, and you had no idea. What you're about to hear are 3 real accounts from real people who experienced something in their own backyards that they will never, ever forget. Stay with me, because the third story is the one that still keeps people up at night. You're watching True Scare Tales, and this one is going to get under your skin. Before we get into it, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now and smash the like button. We drop true horror stories every week, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming. Now let's get into it. Our first story comes from a man named Derek, who lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood in rural Ohio. Derek had a large backyard, mostly wooded at the back edge, with a rusted old fence separating his property from the tree line. He'd lived there for 6 years without a single strange incident. But in the summer of 2019, things changed. It started small. He noticed his back porch light would be on in the mornings, even though he always switched it off before bed. He figured it was a faulty timer. Then one evening, his dog, a large German shepherd named Rex, refused to go outside after dark. Rex would stand at the back door, growling low, staring out into the yard. Derek laughed it off. Dogs do weird things, right? But one night, around 2 a.m., Derek woke up to the sound of rustling near his back fence. He grabbed a flashlight and looked out his bedroom window. There, crouched low behind the fence, half hidden by the tree line, was a figure. A person. Just sitting there, perfectly still, staring directly at his house. Derek called the police. By the time they arrived, the figure was gone. But what the officers found near the fence changed everything. There were footprints, dozens of them, worn deep into the mud, arranged in a circle. Like someone had been pacing there for hours. Night after night. For weeks, maybe longer. The police never identified who it was. Derek moved out 4 months later. Now that one was unsettling. But this next story takes things to a completely different level. This account comes from a woman named Sarah, living alone in a small house in northern Georgia. Sarah had a beautiful backyard garden, flowers, a bird bath, a little stone path. Her happy place. One afternoon, she noticed that some of her garden stones had been moved. Not by much, just slightly rearranged. She assumed it was the wind, or maybe an animal. A few days later, she found a child's shoe sitting in the middle of her garden. Just one shoe. No child, no explanation, no neighbor missing one. She posted about it online, got no answers, and tossed the shoe in the trash. But then came the photo. Sarah had a security camera pointed at her backyard. One morning she reviewed the footage and saw something that made her go cold. At 3:47 a.m., a figure walked slowly through her garden, step by step along her stone path, like they knew exactly where to walk. The figure stopped at her bird bath, stood there for nearly 4 minutes without moving, then walked back the way they came and disappeared into the shadows at the side of the house. The terrifying part? The figure was small, child-sized, and when Sarah looked at the timestamp and walked outside to check, every single stone in her path had been rearranged into a perfect straight line. Sarah never found out who it was. She still has the footage. She says she never watches it alone. Take a breath. Because this last story is the one that had people in the True Scare Tales community genuinely shaken when we first shared it. This one comes from a man named Marcus, who lived on a large property in rural Mississippi with his wife and 2 young kids. Marcus was a calm, rational guy, former military, not easily scared. One summer, he started noticing an old shed at the back of his property had its door slightly open each morning, even though he padlocked it every night. He assumed the latch was broken. Then one night, Marcus decided to check the shed with a flashlight. What he found inside wasn't a ghost, wasn't an animal. It was a living space. A makeshift bed made from old furniture blankets he didn't recognize. Empty food cans stacked neatly in the corner. A small battery-powered lantern. And on the wall, written in black marker, were names. His wife's name. His kids' names. His name. Written over and over again, filling an entire wall. Someone had been living on his property, in his shed, watching his family, learning their names, their routines, their faces. The police launched a full investigation. They found the man 2 weeks later, living in the woods just beyond the property line. He had been there for over 3 months. 3 months. living 30 yards from where Marcus's children played every single day. And that is what makes these stories so deeply disturbing. It's not the supernatural. It's not the unknown. It's the realization that sometimes the most terrifying thing in the world is a person, someone hiding in plain sight, right outside your window, in your own backyard. The place you're supposed to feel safe. If these stories got to you, and honestly they should, drop a comment below and tell us which story scared you the most. And if you know someone who thinks horror can't happen in real life, share this video with them. Let's see how long they sleep with the lights off tonight. True Scare Tales will be back with more real stories that prove sometimes reality is far scarier than anything fiction could ever create. Stay safe out there, and maybe check your backyard tonight.